Did you know that starting at age 60, 1 in 3 people begin to lose strength in their legs without even noticing? It doesn't happen all of a sudden. It's a slow and silent process that gradually shows up in daily activities. At first, a small effort already feels exhausting. Then, getting out of bed becomes more difficult. Carrying a grocery bag takes more energy than before. Stairs seem steeper. And without realizing it, we begin to rely on furniture for support, avoid walking long distances, and accept a cane as part of our daily life. But what if I told you that, in most cases, this isn't just because of aging? What if the real reason your legs feel weak is related to the things you consume, thinking they're helping your body, when in fact, they're weakening it from the inside? This situation is more common than you might think. Picture an energetic man who always enjoyed waking up early, tending his garden, spending weekends with his grandchildren, taking short walks. Suddenly, he begins to notice that his knees no longer support him as firmly. With each step, he feels his legs responding with less strength. The fear of stumbling or losing balance creeps in. Furniture becomes a constant support, and the cane goes from optional to indispensable. It feels strange to him, since he has never faced serious health problems. He gets tested, but everything seems to be in order. His cholesterol levels are stable, blood pressure under control. His heart works fine, yet the feeling of weakness remains. What's going on? The term for this phenomenon isn't widely known, even though it's quite common: sarcopenia. Although it sounds technical, it refers to something fairly simple: the loss of muscle mass over time. It's a natural change that comes with aging. However, there's an important distinction between what is natural and what is inevitable. The decline in muscle mass can be slowed down, stopped, or even reversed. To achieve this, nutrition plays a much more important role than most people realize. Many believe that just exercising or walking daily is enough to maintain muscle strength. Of course, staying physically active is essential, but it's not enough on its own if the body doesn't receive the right nutrients in the right amounts and combinations. And this is where many people make a common mistake, an error that seems harmless, but might be repeated daily by those who believe they're doing everything right. Maybe you're making the same mistake. 2. Now let's think about something simple. The type of diet considered healthy is not always ideal for people in their later years. What benefited you at 40 might no longer be suitable at 65. Why? Because the body changes. Metabolism slows down, hormones shift, and the way nutrients are absorbed changes. So, foods that were once part of your regular diet and seem harmless could actually be creating an internal environment that slowly breaks down your muscles without any obvious signs at first. You wake up, have your coffee, prepare your meals, and carry on with your day without suspecting that some common foods on your plate could be quietly draining your vitality. And we're not talking about fried foods, sodas, or processed candy. No, we're talking about products that appear to be healthy. And precisely because of that, few people ever question them. That's why many good, dynamic, and mentally sharp people begin to notice that their legs no longer have the same strength, without really understanding why. They see a doctor, take vitamins, go for walks, but see no improvement, and that creates deep frustration. It seems like there's no solution, but there is. The first step is to understand that sarcopenia doesn't appear overnight. It shows up gradually. It starts with a slight difficulty getting up from the couch, a bit of knee discomfort, a sense of weakness that could be mistaken for something emotional. Then comes the loss of stability, fear of walking alone, and avoiding outings without someone by your side. Bone aches become more frequent. Fatigue gets stronger. The body starts sending distress signals. And that cane, which once seemed like a temporary fix, becomes a constant companion. Before we continue, remember to like the video if you're enjoying it, and subscribe to the channel to receive the best advice on how to attract abundance and prosperity into your life. Let's keep going. Fortunately, there is a solution. The good news is that you can still take action. It all starts with how you nourish yourself. What many people don't know is that some foods, even natural ones, can cause inflammation in the body if not consumed properly. This type of inflammation is subtle but persistent, and it prevents your muscles from healing and regenerating well. So even if you're walking, doing physical therapy, or taking supplements, if the silent process is happening in your body, your muscles will remain weak. And it's not your fault. No one explained this to you before. You're simply repeating what you've always been told. But now you're beginning to see a new perspective, and that makes a big difference. That's exactly what we'll explore in the next few minutes. You're about to discover certain foods that you probably thought were healthy, but that may actually be contributing to faster muscle loss. It might sound hard to believe right now, but once you understand why, everything will start to make sense. We're not suggesting that you eliminate these foods from your life. What is essential is understanding how, when, and with what they should be consumed. That's the factor that truly makes a difference. Do you remember the story of the man who began to feel weak for no apparent reason? He found that by making a few simple changes to his diet, he was able to regain much of the stability in his legs. It wasn't a miracle. It was science. It was perseverance. And above all, it was the application of knowledge. He didn't have to give up everything he enjoyed or go on a complicated diet. All he needed was to understand what was happening in his body and how he could help it regain its strength. That's exactly what we want to teach you. Sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass, is not an inevitable fate. It's a signal, a wake-up call from the body asking for support. And yes, that support is within reach. It's in the way you organize your meals, the timing of when you eat, and the daily decisions you make. It is possible to live with more stability, more vitality, and a greater sense of independence. It is possible to get out of bed with ease, climb stairs with confidence, walk around the market without needing a cart, and maybe even set aside the cane. We've witnessed this happen many times. Most people just need someone to guide them and say, "Look, you're on the right path, but there are a few things here that might be getting in the way." They're elements we often overlook, but once adjusted, they can completely change how you feel. You regain your vitality, your posture realigns, and your self-confidence returns. It all starts by looking at what you're choosing to eat with fresh eyes. In the next few minutes, we'll go over some of the most common eating habits that may be affecting your muscle strength. Among them are very common foods that are present in almost every home. We're not trying to alarm you or suggest that you completely cut them out of your diet. Our goal is, with kindness and clarity, to show you a healthier way of consuming them, because you deserve to live with more lightness, freedom, and independence. And that is something you can achieve. But before we continue, I want you to pause and reflect. How many times have you wondered why you feel like you're losing energy, even while trying hard to stay healthy? How many times have you thought that relying on a cane was inevitable? How many times have you assumed this was just part of getting older? Well, now you know it doesn't have to be that way. There is a reason behind this. There is a way to change it. And you're very close to discovering the adjustments you need to make. In this next section, we'll speak honestly about the most frequent dietary mistakes among people who are already experiencing leg weakness. We'll uncover why some fruits, so common in our daily lives, might be quietly contributing to this problem. And most importantly, we'll begin the journey toward recovery. Because your muscle health is not gone. It's simply waiting for you to make the right decision. And that first step begins now. Do you remember what we mentioned at the beginning? That many older adults are experiencing leg weakness due to something they consume daily, thinking it's helping their body? Well, the time has come to discover which fruits these are, fruits that, when eaten inappropriately, can speed up muscle loss, make movement more difficult, and increase your dependence on things like a cane. The positive part is that once you understand how these foods affect your body and what steps to take to balance their effects, it is possible to turn the situation around. The first fruit at the top of the list is the ripe banana. Many people love bananas, and for good reason. They're convenient, sweet, and easy to digest. However, the issue lies in how ripe they are. When a banana shows those dark spots that indicate advanced ripeness, its glycemic index rises significantly. This means it causes a rapid spike in blood sugar levels, which can trigger insulin spikes and a silent inflammatory process in the body for those already struggling to maintain muscle mass. This can be harmful. Instead of being helpful, an overly ripe banana interferes with muscle performance and promotes fat accumulation, especially around the abdomen, which further worsens mobility issues. The second fruit on the list is the grape. Though tiny, sweet, and seemingly harmless, few people know that grapes contain one of the highest amounts of fructose proportion among fruits. This means that even eating just a few delivers a significant dose of sugar. And because of their small size and pleasant flavor, it's easy to overeat them. Finishing an entire bunch while watching TV is more common than you might think. The result? An excessive sugar load that overwhelms the liver, causes tissue inflammation, and hinders muscle recovery. The third fruit that could be negatively affecting your muscles is orange juice. This happens especially if it's consumed daily on an empty stomach or along with simple carbohydrates, like white bread or cookies. A single glass of orange juice, even if it's freshly squeezed, can concentrate the sugar found in 4 or 5 oranges. And because it's a liquid, the body absorbs it quickly, as it lacks the fiber from the whole fruit that normally helps slow down the digestive process. This type of sugar rapidly enters the bloodstream, triggering, once again, a sudden insulin spike. For older adults who already struggle to maintain muscle mass, repeating this behavior daily is especially harmful. Instead of providing vitality, juice causes energy fluctuations and gradually weakens the muscles. The fourth fruit on the list is papaya. This might come as a surprise, since it's often considered a light, digestion-friendly fruit, and it does have positive properties. However, when consumed in large amounts, especially at breakfast or as a standalone meal, it can also cause a sudden spike in glucose levels, particularly in people with insulin resistance or chronic inflammation. Additionally, because of its soft texture and pleasant flavor, it's common for people to eat large portions in one sitting. If papaya is used as a substitute for a balanced breakfast with protein and healthy fats, instead of helping the body, it can end up harming it. The result: you feel hungry sooner, your energy drops throughout the day, and your muscles weaken due to a lack of essential nutrients. Lastly, the fifth fruit on the list is watermelon. Yes, that juicy and refreshing fruit often enjoyed on hot days, especially in warmer regions of the country. Watermelon has a high glycemic index and contains very little fiber. When eaten in large quantities, what you're mostly ingesting is water and fructose. If you eat a large amount of watermelon all at once, it causes a sudden spike in blood sugar levels, similar to what happens when you drink sugary beverages. Though it may sound illogical, it's absolutely true, and this spike has a direct impact on muscle function. Like orange juice, watermelon is one of those misleading fruits. It gives sensation of freshness and lightness, but in reality, it can overload the body and hinder muscle tissue development. Here are the 5 fruits that, if not consumed properly, can interfere with your muscle strength. Overripe bananas, grapes in large amounts, orange juice, papaya as a meal replacement, watermelon in excessive portions. This doesn't mean you should completely eliminate these fruits from your diet. The issue is not the fruits themselves, but how they are consumed. Without moderation, without protein alongside, and without maintaining a proper balance. Many people make the mistake of replacing full meals with fruit. They wake up and eat just a banana or a piece of papaya. At lunch, They opt for juice instead of complete dish. And at night, they eat some grapes and call it a light dinner. When this kind of routine becomes a habit, the body starts functioning in an unbalanced way. Over time, this leads to energy loss, joint discomfort, difficulty moving, a feeling of instability when climbing stairs, and a spiral of weakness that seems to have no way out. Excessive fructose consumption from these fruits can trigger chronic inflammation that the body struggles to manage, especially with age. This directly affects the muscles, as the body needs to be in balance to maintain and regenerate muscle tissue. When inflammation is present, the body focuses its energy on reducing it, neglecting muscle repair. In other words, even if you're eating, walking, or doing moderate exercise, your body won't be able to rebuild muscle if the internal environment is working against it. But don't worry. In the next section, I'll explain step by step how to regain your muscle mass and restore strength to your legs. We'll look at simple food swaps, proper nutritional combinations, ingredients that support muscle regeneration, and easy habits you can incorporate into your daily routine to strengthen your body from the inside out. You'll see that you don't have to give up what you enjoy. Just make a few changes. We've already helped many people who, like you, felt weakness in their legs, were afraid of losing balance, and preferred not to go out because they didn't feel secure. People who drank orange juice every day thinking it was a healthy option, who ate papaya thinking it was a light alternative, who believed they were doing things right, but still saw no results. Just a few small adjustments were enough to start turning everything around. The body has an incredible ability to recover, even beyond the ages of 60, 70, or even 80. But for this to happen, it's essential to provide the right environment. The best part is that these conditions aren't complicated or expensive. They're simple, achievable, and can be put into practice right away. And that's exactly what you'll discover in the next and final module. Now that you know which 5 fruits, when consumed excessively or combined inappropriately, can affect your muscle performance, it's time to learn how to fix it. In the next section, we'll teach you how to restore strength in your legs, what foods to include in your diet, and how to organize your meals in a way that's safe, effective, and delicious. You're closer than you think. Let's take the next step together. Now that you understand which fruits, when consumed improperly, can negatively affect your muscle strength, it's time for the most crucial step, discovering how to reverse that situation. And here comes the first key message. Changing the scenario is absolutely possible. That's right. You can regain your vitality, walk with more confidence, ditch the cane, and take back control of your daily life. And the best part, without following complicated diets, spending on expensive supplements, or giving up delicious food. It all starts with knowing how to combine foods correctly. What you choose to put on your plate can either become poison or medicine, and the key lies in the small details. Let's begin with something your body especially needs right now: real protein. Your muscles are primarily made up of protein. If you don't consume enough of it each day, your body won't just struggle to build new tissue. It also won't be able to maintain the muscle you already have. This becomes even more important for people over 60. While the ideal amount may vary for each individual, the essential thing is to make sure you include some source of protein in every meal. Here are a few simple options you can easily integrate into your daily routine. Breakfast. Instead of only eating banana or papaya, consider adding a hard-boiled egg, a portion of fresh cheese, or even plain unsweetened yogurt. This will give your body the proper energy to strengthen your muscles early in the day. Also, protein helps regulate the sugar levels from fruits. So, if you enjoy eating banana, that's fine. Just make sure to pick one that's not overly ripe and always combine it with a protein source, like plain yogurt, for example. Lunch. Prioritize low-fat protein sources like boiled or grilled chicken, fish, eggs, and, if possible, small portions of lean red meat. For those who don't eat meat, Eggs and legumes such as beans, lentils, and chickpeas are suitable alternatives. However, it's crucial to combine them properly and ensure you're eating a sufficient amount. Protein should be present in every meal, even in snacks. Snack. It's better to avoid fruits on their own, especially those mentioned in the previous section. Instead of eating grapes or drinking orange juice, try combining plain yogurt with a less sweet fruit, like green apples, strawberries, or avocado. These foods contain less fructose and are higher in fiber, which helps keep your body balanced. Although avocado is higher in calories, it's excellent for muscle health thanks to its healthy fats, which fight inflammation and promote tissue regeneration. When it comes to anti-inflammatory foods, it's important they're part of your daily diet. That's because, as mentioned before, chronic inflammation is one of the main obstacles to maintaining muscle health. For that reason, adding foods that help reduce it is essential. Here are a few simple and accessible examples. Ginger, turmeric, also known as golden root, extra virgin olive oil, sardines, nuts such as walnuts, seeds like chia and flax. You can add a teaspoon of turmeric to soups or lentils. Use ginger to season meat or make a tea. Drizzle some olive oil over salads and mix a spoonful of chia seeds into yogurt. These are simple actions that, when combined, have a significant impact. Potassium is another essential nutrient for maintaining muscle tone. However, not just any potassium source will do. Many people believe bananas are the only option, but there are more suitable alternatives for those who want to protect their muscles without overdoing the sugar. Some foods that provide potassium and have a low glycemic index include avocado, spinach, broccoli, cabbage, sweet potato, beans, chickpeas, natural coconut water in moderate portions. By including these foods in your diet, you're providing your body with the necessary elements to maintain energy, stay balanced, and prevent cramps. Beyond what you eat, the timing of your meals also plays a key role in muscle recovery. It's advisable to avoid very sweet fruits or juices later in the day. At night, it's best to opt for a light dinner, like sautéed vegetables, eggs, or nourishing soups that contain legumes and vegetables. These types of meals are not heavy on the body and allow it to focus on muscle regeneration during sleep, a process that intensifies during rest. And to further strengthen your muscles, it's important to stay active, even in a gentle way. Taking a 20-minute walk each day, doing stretches, or performing simple exercises with professional guidance can make a big difference. The key is consistency, doing it every day. Making an effort once a week and then stopping isn't very effective. The body needs consistent stimulation to develop and stay firm. And of course, when combined with proper nutrition, results become noticeable more quickly. You may be wondering, can something so simple really make a difference? And the answer is clear. Yes, it absolutely can. And it's not just us saying it, real people confirm it. Like Mrs. Rosalia, 72 years old, who after adopting these simple changes to her diet and incorporating daily walks, was able to stop using her cane and now goes to the market on her own. Or Manuel, who used to suffer from constant leg pain and couldn't climb the stairs at home. Since he started balancing his meals, adding protein, and cutting out juices, he feels more energetic and can now walk to the neighborhood square without needing support. These achievements weren't a matter of luck. They're the result of having the right information and putting it into practice effectively. Now, the next move is in your hands. Start today. Review your diet. Look at what's on your plate. Check if it's full of color, if it includes proteins, and if fruits are eaten in moderation. Replace juices with whole fruits. Choose a less ripe banana to reduce sweetness, and pair it with yogurt and oats. Cut back on excessive consumption of grapes and watermelon, and give priority to fiber-rich fruits with lower sugar content. Include eggs, dark leafy greens, whole grains, and seeds in your meals. Do it for yourself, for your body, for the freedom to move with confidence again. And remember, no matter how old you are, there's always an opportunity to strengthen your muscles. Your body wants to heal. It's just waiting for you to give it what it needs. It's all up to you. The cane doesn't have to be your permanent companion. The insecurity when walking can be left behind. Strength can return. Stability can be restored. You're not alone. There's a large community of people already making these changes, and results are visible every single day. It might be a friend, a relative, or someone who knows you're doing your best to regain vitality. Together, we can bring more well-being and hope to more people. Also, we invite you to visit the link we've left in the description, especially for you. Don't forget to activate the notification bell to stay up to date and not miss any of our new content. Every week, we share videos with recommendations on nutrition, physical activity, disease prevention, and all the information you need to fully enjoy this stage of life. And before we finish, keep this message close to heart. Weakness doesn't have to be an inevitable part of aging. Your body is designed to move, and your muscles are meant to support you. Even if you've lost some strength, it can be regained through proper nutrition, small adjustments, and a positive mindset. You can walk with strength, confidence, and pride in every step you take. The first step starts now, and we are here to walk with you on this journey. Have you ever wondered, why is it advised not to get up before 4 a.m.? What's so special about the activities we do when starting our day? Since childhood, we've heard the saying, "The early bird catches the worm." However, it's interesting to observe that some older people wake up very early and remain energetic, while others defend the idea that sleeping in later is more beneficial for well-being. As we age, our bodies require more careful attention. The early hours of the day are when our body is most vulnerable. The routines we follow at this time not only influence how we feel immediately, but they also have a lasting impact on our health over time. After hearing this information, you'll be able to identify which common morning habits among older people are beneficial for their health and which could be harmful. It's likely that some habits you thought were harmless are affecting your well-being without you noticing. I will also provide you with safe and effective morning practices to maintain a healthy aging process. By sharing this knowledge with your loved ones, more people will be able to enjoy a fulfilling and healthy life in their later years. This content is particularly relevant for people who tend to drink cold water right after waking up. Exercise in the park early in the morning. Take a shower as soon as they get up. I will explain why these habits could be harmful and how you can adjust them to better care for your health. What's fascinating is that with simple adjustments to daily activities, significant improvements in well-being can be made without major sacrifices. When you wake up, what's the first thing you do? Do you have a cup of coffee? Or do you prefer to go straight to washing your face? What if I told you there's something you should never do when you get up? Let's explore it together in this analysis of healthy morning routines for older adults. Pay attention and reflect on how this information compares to your daily routine. It's likely that on several occasions you'll be surprised, say, "I used to do that too." By the end of this content, you may develop a new approach to starting your day from tomorrow. Maintaining healthy aging doesn't require radical changes, but small, everyday gestures. It all starts with your morning habits. Before continuing, remember to like the video if you're enjoying it, and subscribe to the channel for the best tips on how to attract abundance and prosperity into your life. Let's continue. First tip: don't get up abruptly when an alarm rings in the morning. How do you react? Do you sit up immediately? Maybe when you were younger, this wasn't something you worried about. But as we age, this behavior could be more dangerous than we think. Let me share the experience of my neighbor, Mr. Smith. Every morning, his alarm went off at 5 a.m., and he would get up instantly. However, one day he started feeling extremely dizzy and ended up falling to the ground. Luckily, He didn't suffer serious injuries, but the hospital diagnosed him with orthostatic hypotension. The doctor told him something crucial. Over time, blood vessels lose elasticity. In people over 70, the body has a much lower ability to control blood pressure compared to when they were young. For this reason, staying lying down for too long and getting up abruptly can cause the pressure to drop suddenly, leading to dizziness or even fainting. So, what's the right way to get up? The answer is clear. Do it gradually. Before continuing, remember to like the video if you're enjoying it, and subscribe to the channel for the best tips on how to attract abundance and prosperity into your life. Let's continue. When the alarm rings, don't get up immediately. Take about 3 more minutes in bed. Use that time to look at the ceiling and reflect on what the day will bring, or to notice the weather through the window. Then gradually move into a seated position before standing up fully. Do a little movement with your arms and legs to stimulate blood circulation. Next, move to the edge of the bed and sit for a moment. Don't rush this step. Stay seated for about a minute, so your body can adjust to this position. Only after that time can you stand up calmly, although this may seem insignificant. This simple habit is crucial to avoiding falls and reducing the sudden effort that could affect your heart and brain. If you suffer from high blood pressure or heart problems, it's even more important to take precautions. Getting up slowly in the morning is the first step toward a day filled with well-being. In this section, we'll discuss which foods are recommended for consumption in the morning. But before that, why not note down this method for waking up tonight and try it out tomorrow when you get up? It's a simple adjustment, but it can have a big impact on your well-being. Second, be cautious with cold foods in the morning. Do any of you drink a glass of cold water when you wake up, or consume milk or yogurt straight from the fridge? You may do this because it provides a refreshing and revitalizing feeling, in addition to being a deeply ingrained habit. However, have you ever considered what impact this has on your body? Allow me to share the story of Mrs. Parker. Every morning, she used to enjoy a breakfast of yogurt and cold fruit straight from the refrigerator. However, one day, she began to experience stomach discomfort and digestive issues. At first, she thought it was due to her age, but when the doctor inquired about her morning eating habits, he quickly identified the cause. After a night of rest, the body's temperature usually drops slightly in the morning. This phenomenon intensifies with age. At this point, consuming cold food causes a sudden contraction in the stomach and intestines. It's comparable to being in a warm environment and suddenly receiving a blast of cold air. The body experiences a considerable impact. This shock not only causes discomfort, but can also lead to a sudden constriction of blood vessels, which poses an additional strain for those with heart conditions, as well as compromising the immune system. During winter, this condition increases the risk of catching a cold or the flu. So, what would be ideal to eat in the morning? The answer is simple. Foods that are at a temperature close to the body's or slightly warm, and that are consumed slowly. Upon waking up, it's recommended to drink a glass of warm water slowly. To do this, you can boil the water and let it cool slightly before drinking it. Then, after about 20 minutes, begin breakfast with soft, warm foods like porridge, soft-cooked rice, or lukewarm soup. It's important to pay attention to the temperature of the food. If it's too hot, it can irritate the stomach, so it should be at a temperature that doesn't burn when touched with a hand. Mrs. Parker also experienced significant improvement after adjusting her diet. While it's a small change, if maintained daily, it can bring great health benefits. Third, don't drink too much water at once in the morning. You've probably heard many times that drinking a glass of water upon waking up is beneficial for health. It's a common recommendation in wellness programs. However, even this positive habit, if done improperly, can be risky. Allow me to tell you the story of Mr. Jake, whom I met recently. He is over 60 years old and is quite concerned about his health. Every morning, as soon as he woke up, he quickly drank a large glass of cold water. However, one day, after doing this, he experienced dizziness, and his heart started to race. When he went to the hospital, he was diagnosed with a transient ischemic attack. According to the doctor, as we age, the body's ability to regulate blood vessels diminishes. Upon waking up, it's common for blood pressure to be off balance, and if a large amount of water is consumed quickly at that moment, the blood volume undergoes a sudden change. Since the body doesn't have time to adjust, complications may arise. This risk is even higher for individuals with hypertension or heart problems. It's important to be cautious, as sudden changes in blood pressure can affect heart health and, in severe cases, compromise blood flow to the brain, as happened to Grandpa Jake. So, what's the right way to drink water in the morning? Are you curious? Don't worry. The procedure is simple. First, avoid drinking water immediately upon waking up. Wait about 10 minutes. This allows the body to gradually activate and the blood pressure to stabilize. Second, opt for warm or room temperature water instead of cold water, as cold water can cause sudden blood vessel contraction. Third, don't drink large amounts at once. It's better to sip slowly using a small glass. For example, it's much safer to drink in several small sips from a small cup than to gulp down a large glass all at once. After modifying his habits this way, Grandpa Jake was able to maintain his health without problems. At first, it seemed a bit bothersome, but over time he said, "Now my body feels so much better." Staying hydrated is essential for well-being, but the way it's done also matters. In the mornings, it's ideal to drink slowly, in small sips with warm water. Fourth recommendation, don't rush into exercise in the morning. Have you heard that exercise in the morning is the best option? Going for a walk or jog at dawn, when the air is still fresh, might have been a great routine in youth. However, did you know that as we age, this practice could pose a risk to health? Let me tell you about Grandpa Parker, a neighbor from this neighborhood. At 70 years old, he had kept the habit of waking up at 5 a.m. to run in the park for over 4 decades. He always felt proud of living a healthy life thanks to this routine. But one winter morning, while following his usual routine, he was suddenly struck with intense chest pain and collapsed. Luckily, someone nearby noticed and managed to get him to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with an acute heart attack. The doctor's explanation was shocking. Upon waking up, the sympathetic nervous system activates, leading to increased blood pressure and an accelerated heart rate. If you suddenly exercise at that moment, especially in older adults, the heart can be subjected to excessive strain. The cold intensifies this danger, as it causes blood vessels to constrict and further increases blood pressure. The reason Grandpa Parker collapsed, despite never having had problems for over 4 decades, was that over the years, his blood vessels had lost their flexibility, and the accumulated strain eventually took its toll. So, what is the best time to exercise? The answer is simple. If you prefer to do it in the morning, wait until the sun has fully risen and your body is completely active. Another option, which may even be safer, is to exercise in the afternoon. If you really want to exercise in the morning, follow these tips. Upon waking, wait 30 minutes to an hour before starting. In the meantime, hydrate with some water and have a light breakfast. Start with gentle stretching or warm-up movements. Instead of immediately starting to run, begin with a slow walk and gradually increase the pace. After being discharged from the hospital, Grandpa Parker followed his doctor's instructions and started exercising after 9 a.m., reducing the intensity. Since then, he has not faced any further health problems. With a smile, he said, "Although I don't push myself as much as in my youth, I still maintain a consistent routine, and the benefits remain the same." Fifth recommendation, be cautious with morning showers. Do you think starting the day with a shower right after waking up is the best way to energize yourself? Or do you believe that a hot shower in the morning helps to relax the body? In fact, taking a shower this early can be more harmful to your health than it seems. Let me tell you the story of our neighbor, Grandpa Smith, who lives in the same building. At 65 years old, he would always wake up at 5:30 a.m. to take a hot shower, as he claimed it cleared his mind. However, one day while showering, he suddenly lost his vision and fainted in the bathroom. Luckily, his wife, who was at home, heard an unusual sound, opened the bathroom door, and found him just in time. He was rushed to the hospital, where doctors confirmed that he had fainted due to low blood pressure. The doctor explained that, upon waking, both his blood pressure and glucose levels hadn't yet stabilized. Did you know this habit can become dangerous in old age? Let me tell you the story of a grandmother who lives near my house. This woman, 65 years old, used to take a hot shower every morning because she said it made her body feel revitalized and ready to start the day. However, one cold winter morning, while she was bathing, her vision suddenly blurred, and she felt an intense dizziness that caused her fall. Luckily, she wasn't seriously injured, but at the hospital, she was diagnosed with a temporary fainting episode caused by low blood pressure. Why does this happen? According to specialists, when you wake up, your blood pressure and body temperature have not fully stabilized yet. If you take a hot shower at that moment, your blood vessels suddenly expand, which can cause a drastic drop in blood pressure. This reduces blood flow to the brain, which can lead to dizziness or even fainting. The risk is even greater for people with hypertension or heart problems. Additionally, the bathroom is a slippery area with hard surfaces, so a fall could result in serious injuries. What can be done? It's not necessary to give up showers, but here are a few tips. Shower in the afternoon or evening. At that point, your body has reached a more balanced state. If you need to shower in the morning, wait at least 30 minutes after waking up. Use that time to move around a little to improve circulation and drink some water to stay hydrated. Adjust the water temperature. It should not be excessively hot, just slightly warm. It's also recommended that the shower not be too long. About 15 minutes will suffice. Now, this grandmother has changed her daily routine. She showers mainly at night, and in the morning, she just refreshes her face and does a light cleaning. Although it was difficult to get used to at first, she now says that it's a more practical and safe approach. It's also suggested to install support bars in the bathroom and use non-slip mats. Additionally, slightly warming the bathroom before entering may be helpful in preventing sudden temperature changes that could negatively affect the body. Now, let's talk about another danger: rushing to the bathroom in the morning. Have you considered adjusting your shower routine to increase your safety? It's a small change, but it could be a significant step toward protecting your well-being. 7th, how to take breakfast and medication the right way when you wake up. What do you usually eat first? Many people choose a hot stew, like smitchi jjigae or doenjang jjigae. Others prefer to take their medication as soon as they wake up. But did you know that these habits might not be as beneficial to your health? Let me tell you the story of Mrs. Jang, a 72-year-old grandmother who lives in our neighborhood. She's always liked starting her day with a breakfast that included a salty jjigae of smitchi and pickles. She also used to take her blood pressure medication with some water before eating. However, she started to experience stomach burning and dizziness more frequently. At the hospital, she was told that her gastritis had worsened and that her blood pressure was unstable. According to specialists, it's common for blood pressure to rise in the morning. If high-sodium foods are consumed at that time, this increase can be even higher, which raises the risk of hypertension. Moreover, taking medications on an empty stomach can irritate the gastric lining, potentially causing gastritis or ulcers. How to avoid these problems? Choose a low-sodium breakfast Instead of using salt or soy sauce, opt for healthier ingredients like sesame seeds or nuts to flavor your food. Eat soft and nutritious foods. It's better to have porridge, soft rice vegetables, or fruits rather than spicy or heavy dishes. Hydrate before eating. Drink a glass of warm water about 20 minutes before breakfast to help activate your digestive system and regulate blood pressure. Avoid taking medication on an empty stomach. Unless explicitly instructed by a doctor, it's ideal to take medication 30 minutes after eating. This is especially important for blood pressure medications, anti-inflammatories, and painkillers. To remember when to take your medications, you can set an alarm or write down the days and times on container. If you take several medications, a pill organizer with separate compartments will help you stay organized and avoid mistakes. As for Mrs. Jang, she has replaced her breakfast with oatmeal or fruit and always takes her medication after eating. She says that at first it was difficult, but now her stomach feels much better, and the dizziness has decreased. 8th, it's not necessary to wake up at dawn. You probably heard the saying, the early bird catches the worm. Many people have led a disciplined life, waking up at dawn. However, did you know that as the years go by, this habit could be harmful to your health? Let me tell you the story of Mr. Jake, a 76-year-old man who has worked in the field all his life. He got used to waking up early and continued that routine even after his retirement. However, lately, he has been feeling tired and dizzy during the day. The hospital diagnosed him with chronic fatigue due to inadequate rest. Specialists point out that as we age, the deep sleep phase decreases, and it's more common to wake up several times during the night. Therefore, even if you spend long hours in bed, you might not be getting truly restorative sleep. If, in addition, you insist on waking up early in that context, your body may not be getting the necessary rest, which could lead to various health problems. So, how much sleep do we really need? Is it bad to sleep in? Here's the answer. From a medical perspective, for older adults, sleeping until noon doesn't indicate laziness, but rather it's a healthy choice. This is especially true for those with irregular blood pressure or heart problems, as adequate rest becomes even more crucial. Sleep specialists argue that, even in old age, it's necessary to get around 8 hours of sleep each day. If you haven't rested properly during the night, taking the opportunity to sleep a little longer in the morning can be beneficial for your well-being. The key is not waking up early, but allowing your body to rest as much as it needs. For example, Grandpa Jake now sleeps until his body wakes up naturally, following his doctor's advice. He usually gets up around 7 a.m. At first, it felt strange to him because he thought he was wasting time, but now he says he has more energy and vitality throughout the day. I want to share a few tips for getting a good rest. Establish a consistent routine. Try to go to bed and wake up at the same time each day. Before bed, you can wash your feet with warm water or do some light stretching, which will help. Make sure the bedroom is dark and quiet, and avoid consuming caffeine or alcohol before bed. It's more valuable to start the day with a healthy mind and body than to wake up early. Pay attention to your body's signals and give it the rest it needs. That's the real secret to maintaining well-being. What do you think of this summary about morning routines? We've covered 8 key aspects, and most of them are directly connected to our daily lives, right? We discovered that it's not recommended to rush out of bed in the morning, but rather to wake your body up gradually. We learned to be careful with cold food and drinks. It's also better to drink water in small sips and calmly, rather than gulping it down. We became aware that doing intense exercises or taking a hot shower early on can be dangerous. Additionally, we should be cautious when rushing to the bathroom. We also discussed that breakfast should be light, and it's better to take medications after eating. However, the most important thing is not waking up early, but making sure to get enough rest. It might worry you not to remember or apply all of these things. But don't worry. Every change begins with a small first step. How about tomorrow, when you wake up, focusing on just one? For example, when the alarm goes off, don't get up immediately. Stay in bed for a few more minutes and gently wake up your body. Next week, you could choose a lighter breakfast. And the week after, change the time when you take your medication. By making small adjustments like these, you'll notice how your mornings, your days, and your well-being begin to change. In fact, many older people who have incorporated these simple habits claim that they feel lighter, more relaxed, and enjoy their mornings more. To have a fulfilling old age, there is no need for complex secrets. It is the simple daily habits that contribute to your well-being. It's not about expensive elixirs or complicated routines, but about small adjustments that, while easy to implement, can have a significant impact on your health. Lastly, cultivate self-love. Aging does not mean neglecting your well-being. On the contrary, it is the ideal time to pay more attention and improve your self-care. Living healthily and for many years will be the most valuable gift you can give to your loved ones. Share this information with your family and friends. Your experience and knowledge can be a great support for others. And most importantly, when you wake up tomorrow, think, today I will make healthier decisions than yesterday. A fulfilling and healthy old age starts now, at this very moment. I sincerely wish you a life phase full of joy, with days full of energy and well-being. I deeply appreciate that you stayed with us until the end with such enthusiasm. Feel free to share your experience in the comments. It could be very helpful for those watching this.